On Saturdays, right here on First Alert 6, you can step into new worlds through Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, Protecting the Wild. On October 4th, it's coming back for Season 3, showcasing incredible wildlife and inspiring curiosity for conservation. And we are so excited to have the host of Wild Kingdom joining us today, Peter Gros and Dr. Rae Wynn-Grant. Thank you both so much for being here. Of course, viewers know the show is international. You get to travel all over the world. Dr. Rae, I know you even came here to Omaha for one segment for this season, but tell us, where are some of the spots you guys are taking us?
Well, let's talk about Omaha because it is a journey in itself on that episode coming up in Season 3, where we started at the Henry Doorly Zoo in the back laboratory spaces. Okay, so we were not in the exhibits. We were behind the scenes in some of the amphibian rehabilitation centers where they were breeding the Puerto Rican crested toad, a highly endangered amphibian. And Peter and I got to join the crew from the Henry Doorly Zoo to take this crested toad all the way to the island of Puerto Rico in the Caribbean, where we were with the zoo team and the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service and many other conservation organizations to release what was the 100,000th Puerto Rican crested toad into the wild in Puerto Rico. So it started right there in Omaha very proudly and ended with this tremendous conservation success.
Oh my gosh, how amazing. I can't wait to see that. I already watched the trailer. It looks like there are so many other cool spots that you guys are going. Peter, the show has lasted decades. What do you think is so captivating about the content and the subject of conservation that really makes people want to tune in again and again?
Well, I think the fact that Mutual of Omaha started the show back in the 1960s, at the time it captivated people because Sunday afternoons they would sit on their couch as a family together and be taken to parts of the world they never imagined they would see before and see their hosts talk about conservation projects then. And in some cases, like the bald eagle and certain wolves and bears and wildlife, were teetering on the edge of extinction. Now, some of the shows that we do on Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, Protecting the Wild, on weekend mornings on NBC, are telling the same story, but we can talk about eagles and black-footed ferrets and other animals that are making progress. Our stories are positive conservation stories affecting attitudes about people about conservation. We're hoping to connect with the next generation so they too want to become involved. Seeing the successful conservation stories that we're talking about. That's not to say that we still don't have problems, but our goal, I think, is to create hope and realize we've had them in the past, we have in the future, and we can solve them as we as humans all learn and work together.
What a really important lesson. Do you have a favorite memory from filming this season? Is there anything maybe that surprised you?
Oh my goodness, we have pretty wild adventures for every single episode that we film, but I guess what comes to mind for me is for Season 3 we filmed an episode on gray whales. So we were down in the San Ignacio Lagoon in Baja California, state of Mexico, and we were out on these boats in the lagoon, looking for gray whales. We had our binoculars, we were looking from a distance, and there were rules that you certainly cannot approach a whale, but you can allow these gray whales to approach your boat if they so choose. We really lucked out on that expedition because we had several whales that chose to come very close to us, close enough that we could even reach over the edge of our boat and touch this whale's face and head. And that was something that was environmentally friendly, absolutely safe, and truly incredibly magical. So you get some of those magic wildlife moments on Season 3 of Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom, Protecting the Wild.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait to see that too.
It was a thrill for me as well, but I think one of the highlights for me was spending time in British Columbia because the lynx population is quite strong there, yet not so much anymore in northern Washington state. So a lynx was collected, part of a reintroduction program, brought across the Canadian border, which was really fun when we crossed the border and they said, do you have anything to declare? We have no fruits, no vegetables, no nothing. One lynx, and that's what we have. We then crossed the border and took it to a beautiful section where they used to live in the national forest in the snow, opened the door, and watched this lynx return to the wild where it had been generations before in the perfect habitat for it. To me, that is always a thrill when we get to reintroduce an animal back to its natural habitat.
You know, why is it so important to keep the conversation surrounding conservation going, not just through this medium with you both, but in other ways too?
You know, wildlife conservation has been going on for over 100 years in this country, and there are very few media outlets that are showcasing that week after week, episode after episode. So we feel very proud that our show is solely focused on wildlife conservation and highlights the efforts and the projects that are going very well. There are some species on this planet that we would not have anymore if it weren't for wildlife conservation. And there are species that we won't have in the future unless more people get involved in wildlife conservation. We have a lot of reason to believe that it's going well. It's going to be successful. And we want to get people as excited about wildlife and the conservation behind protecting them as we are.
And I might just add to that, I think one of the most important ways to get people interested in conservation is at a very young age, start taking day hikes, and then eventually an overnight hiking, camping, and then eventually visit our national park system. View wildlife through your binoculars, bring it up close doing that, spending time in the great outdoors. Once you've done that at an early age, I think there's something about us that wants to spend more and more time in nature, and as an end result, hopefully the next generation will say, what can I do to help save and be sure we keep our natural world?
You know, it's the little things, just like you said, that can really add up and make a big change and a big ripple effect. Is there anything else you'd like our viewers to know about the season before we wrap up today?
Probably just be sure you don't miss it. There's so many great, exciting shows, and we've already just started filming for season 4. So I guess the best thing we should say, we'll see you on NBC on weekend mornings, right, Rae?
Yeah, it's our favorite show on TV. I mean, we've already amassed 5 daytime Emmy nominations for the show, multiple other awards. It's really good stuff, science programming, and we're proud of it.
We never miss it.
Yeah, I never miss an episode.
Really, really great work and important work too. Thank you so much. Again, Peter Gros and Dr. Rae Wynn-Grant from Mutual of Omaha's Wild Kingdom. Like they said, the new season premieres on October 4th. You can watch it right here on First Alert 6.